Let's call this a modern fairy tale.
What could possibly go wrong?
They have proven themselves to be liars.
Why are they talking about race?
How you don't have your daddy at your wedding?
I want to be near them. I want to be a part of their life.
What you're doing to your father's not right.
She wanted her privacy invaded.
There were women who worked for her who were absolutely broken by her.
Just by existing, we were upsetting the dynamic of the hierarchy.
He has become a traitor.
Who are their friends now?
The fairy tale has fractured.
They would change the world.
Well, you know, in every family, I think, things get serious when you are brought in to meet the mother or the grandmother. In your situation, it's the queen.
The real queen.
Have you met the queen?
I have, yes.
A couple of times.
Yeah, it's true, a couple of times.
Emboldened, I felt the time had come for her to meet my family. She agreed.
There wasn't like some big moment of like, and now you're gonna meet my grandmother. We were in the car and we were going to Royal Lodge for lunch.
Which was where some other members of the family live, specifically Andrew and Fergie and...
After a moment, Meg asked me something about the Queen's assistant. I asked who she was talking about. That man holding the purse. That wasn't her assistant. That was her second son, Andrew.
There is no way that she would not have known who Prince Andrew was.
And Eugenie and I had known each other before I had known Harry, so that was comfortable.
Now, as if she would know who Eugenie's parents were.
She definitely hadn't Googled us.
And I remember in the car.
I got word on my phone. Granny was there. She'd popped in.
And he's like, oh, my grandmother's there. She's going to be there after church.
My grandmother was the first senior member of the family that Meghan met.
Oh, great. I loved my grandmother. I used to take care of my grandmother. This is great.
That just did it for us. I think my grandmother would be rolling over in her grave if she saw that. She didn't take care of her.
Meg said, fun. I love grandmas.
It's incredible. I think, you know, to be able to meet her through his lens, not just with his honor and respect for her as the monarch, but the love that he has for her as his grandmother.
Meghan always has managed to demote the Queen so that the Queen is an appendage of hers.
She's an incredible woman.
And the Queen noticed it. She noticed things like that.
She had no idea what it all consisted of.
Before her move to the UK, Meghan visited Rose Tree Cottage, the quintessentially English tea room in Pasadena.
Joining this family, I knew that there was a protocol for how things were done.
Just before Meghan met the Queen, she recruited Edmund Fry for 2-hour tea lessons that included everything from proper fork handling to the exact way to sip tea.
So it was a bit of a shock to the system for her.
People come from all over the world to come to us. This is actually where Meghan sat, and sat down here, right next to where Diane's picture is.
All of those layers have been so important for me, so that when I met her, I had such a deep understanding and, of course, incredible respect for being able to have that time with her.
I asked if she knew how to curtsy. She said she thought so.
He goes, right, do you know how to curtsy? What?
And he said, you know how to curtsy, right?
Because it's a 1,000-year-old tradition, right?
He said, do you know how to curtsy? Now, I thought genuinely that was what happens outside.
Yeah.
I thought that was part of the fanfare. I didn't think that's what happens inside. And I said, but it's your grandmother. He goes,
but she's the Queen.
Wow.
And Fergie ran out and she said, are you ready? Do you know how to curtsy? I said, oh my goodness, you guys.
Fergie said she doesn't know Meghan.
But how do you explain that to people? How do you explain that you bow to your grandmother?
I'll tell you exactly how you explain it to people. She is the figurehead of the nation first, and after you've done that formality, she's granny. It's not a difficult explanation. I just did it, and I thought I was quite good.
And that you will need to curtsy, especially to an American. Like, that's weird.
You're right. You had to bow to the Queen of England. Correct. Because it's the royal family. Get over it. That's all he had to do. He could have saved himself all this mess.
Wow.
And that was really the first moment that the penny dropped.
And I just thought it was a joke.
And that's the look of scorn and contempt, that she had to bow to somebody when she feels that she is equal and or superior.
I mean, Americans will understand this. We have medieval times, dinner and tournament. It was like that.
So we start with a stop gesture with her hand as she goes,
Americans will understand this.
Like, this isn't for English people. This joke is only for Americans. But it's also a signal to people to, like, I got this. Like, this doesn't involve you. So she's told this joke before this way to American friends of hers, and it hit. It landed well. And that's why she's presenting it with such confidence and saying, this is for the Americans.
I met her, and apparently I did a very deep curtsy, and I don't remember it.
Like, I curtsied as though I was like...
This is horrific. Look at his face. Look at poor Harry's face.
Oh, he's not happy. He's not happy.
And the other tell I can tell from this is, like, I think he knows she's not being honest.
But yeah, to me, it feels a little disrespectful to mock this tradition that's so important. Forget royalty, but to your husband's family.
He doesn't think it's any cuter than you do, or I do.
This is the dying swan to show off, you know, how graceful she is. And it doesn't land. She looks to see if it's landed as a joke. It doesn't land. There's bitterness, contempt, withheld opinion, and I would say some anger as well. It's simple. He doesn't like it at all.
He looks to the side at somebody off camera because she's acting like a fool and embellishing a moment that he was there and witnessed that didn't go down like this.
Pleasure to meet you, Your Majesty.
We all know that she thinks all these formalities are ridiculous.
Like, was that okay?
His silence showed Meghan that he wasn't happy. I'm sure they had a fight after, off camera.
They just expect me to be fine with the lunching in medieval times. Honestly, who failed me?
Because when we talk about customs, you know as well as I know that if it was the custom of any other country she was talking about, if it was, you know, the namaste or head bowing to officials in the Orient and the East, but when it comes to showing reverence to the head of state, the monarch of our kingdom and many Commonwealth realms, all of a sudden that's something, you know, did I really have to curtsy? I wasn't expecting that. You're not there in your net skirts, and I don't believe for one moment that she sunk to the ground in some sort of gesticulation. But apparently it was a big deal to her to just go to the Queen of 70 years. Apparently that was an astonishing moment for her.
Because, well, it's not just the UK monarchy, it's all of the monarchies, it's all of the royal families throughout history, TV shows, documentaries. Meghan loves a Disney film.
You Google how to curtsy?
No, we were in the car.
Okay.
We were in the car. She watched the royal wedding. She was obsessed with Princess Kate, obsessed about being a princess herself, that she blogged about it in her TIG. And there's actual footage of Meghan when she was about 8 years old, taking over another little girl's birthday party, wearing a crown, getting people to call her Her Majesty and to curtsy to her.
Resurfaced clips from Suits, her show, proved she knew how to curtsy. Here she is in Suits doing a perfect curtsy.
Perfect.
That's how you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
How does one curtsy? Yes.
Deeply to show respect. And I learned it very quickly right in front of the house. We just practiced and then walked in. And
you and Harry practiced?
Yeah.
So this actress who's such a pro did it on her damn show, but didn't know how to do it for Her Majesty the Queen.
No, the family together have been absolutely, solid support, and my grandparents as well have been wonderful throughout this whole process, and they've known for quite some time. So,
Prince Philip never liked Meghan from the word go.
he felt Harry was making the biggest mistake of his life.
Granny, you know I love Meg very much, and I've decided that I would like to ask her to marry me. At last she replied, well then, I suppose I have to say yes. You feel you have to say yes? Does that mean you are saying yes, but that you want to say no?
The Queen was faced with a dilemma. If she said no, Harry would have married Meghan in any event, and Harry warned them that if they did not consent to the marriage, they would be accused of racism.
How they haven't told anybody is again a miracle in itself. But no, the whole family have come together and have been a huge amount of support.
They've been amazing.
However, relations between Meghan and the team at Kensington Palace were fraying fast. A senior aide discreetly raised with the couple the difficulties caused by their treatment of staff. People need to be treated well and with some understanding, even when they were not performing to Harry and Meghan's standards, they suggested. Meghan was said to have replied, "It's not my job to coddle people."
It doesn't matter what year you are. I'm head of the associates. If I give you an assignment, you do it.
What was it like introducing Meghan to your father and your brother?
I also said I couldn't wait for them to meet her, that I look forward to the four of us spending lots of time together. And I confessed, for the umpteenth time, that this had long been my dream, to join them with an equal partner, to become a foursome. What was it like? It was exciting. I mean, I've been seeing her for a period of time when I literally didn't tell anybody at all. I'd said this to Willie so many times, and he'd always replied, "It might not happen, Harold, and you've got to be okay with that." Well, now I felt that it was going to happen, and I told him so. And then William was longing to meet her, and so was Catherine, but he still said to slow down. She's an American actress after all, Harold. Anything might happen. I nodded, a bit hurt. I remember my family first meeting her and being incredibly impressed, because I think they were surprised. Maybe surprised that a ginger could land such a beautiful woman and such an intelligent woman.
It's because you're Prince Harry, dear. It's because you're a prince.
Does anyone really think if he were Harry Jones instead of Harry Windsor, this beautiful, semi-known social climber would have given him the time of day?
No, it was fantastic. It was absolutely amazing to get to know her as quickly as I did. And Willie had already warned me not to do it. It's too fast, he told me. Too soon. He aired some concerns very early on. In fact, he'd actually been pretty discouraging about me even dating Meg.
Which was a real threat to her plans.
Harry was pissed off when William reached out to make sure that his brother wasn't blindsided by lust when he first started seeing Meghan, isn't it?
Are you sure about her, Harold? I am, Willie. But do you know how difficult it's going to be?
William reportedly told Harry to take as much time as you need to get to know this girl.
And I still to this day don't truly understand which part of what he was talking about.
William dated Kate for 8 years before they got hitched, and William was like, "Yo, bro, like let's slow the pace down. We don't need to run directly down the aisle with Meghan. Let's take our time."
He aired some concerns very early on.
It affronted Harry to be questioned like that, but I think that William, it came from a good place.
But then this sums up them as people, doesn't it? William, the calm and rational one, and Harry, who can't help but take things far too personally.
And Catherine's been absolutely
wonderful,
amazing, as is William as well. Fantastic support.
Even when Will and Kate came over, and I had met her for the first time they came over for dinner, I remember I was in ripped jeans and I was barefoot.
I'm sure many of you have noticed by now that Meghan will never call Catherine or Prince William by their proper titles or by their proper names. So by saying Will and Kate, she's doing it on purpose to publicly disrespect them.
Why should I go out with him? Just because he's charming and hot? And witty and British? And has a title. He does?
The royal titles don't matter. Just call me Meghan.
she is now briefing that she's furious with you because you, her own sister, is not referring to her as the Duchess of Sussex.
I introduced Meg, who leaned in and gave him a hug, which completely freaked him out. He recoiled. Willie didn't hug many strangers, whereas Meg hugged most strangers.
It's like I was a hugger. I've always been a hugger. I didn't realize that is really jarring for a lot of Brits.
Maybe Willie expected Meg to curtsy. It would have been protocol when meeting a member of the royal family for the first time.
I guess I'd started to understand very quickly that the formality on the outside carried through on the inside. That there is a forward-facing way of being. And then you close the door and you go, oh, great. Okay, we can relax now. But that formality carries over on both sides. And that was surprising to me.
Because it is performative. You don't have to be performative. And I always hold them up as great examples, but Princess Anne and the late Queen were great examples. They're not there to look happy with a rigor mortis smile.
Yes, I think that's what she learnt in Hollywood and from her father, that however hard you're knocked, only smile, part of the act.
Meghan has actually told us in her own words.
She tried to act the part of a princess, but couldn't make it work.
She never needed to act the part. Acting was not required.
Holding for sound.
You can see that she's finding her light, just like Daddy taught me.
Quiet on set.
I don't think they were ever expecting me to get into a relationship with someone like Meghan, who had, a very successful career. The fact that I was dating an American actress was probably what clouded their judgment more than anything else at the beginning. Oh, she's an American actress, this won't last. There was a lot of stereotyping that was happening that I was guilty of as well at the beginning.
What do you mean by that?
American actress, right?
Prince Harry's ex, the actress Cressida, dated Prince Harry for 2 years after being introduced to him by Princess Eugenie in 2012.
So, the fact that I had that in the back of my mind, and some of the things that my brother and sister-in-law, some of the way that they were acting or behaving, definitely felt to me as though, unfortunately, that stereotyping was causing a bit of a barrier to them really sort of, introducing or welcoming her in.
The actress thing was the biggest problem, funny enough.
Something she's really into, she's let it go now because she's doing this other thing. She's not interested in acting again. We'll never see her, I don't think, ever act again.
There is a big idea of what that looks like from the UK standpoint. Hollywood, and it's just very easy for them to typecast that.
Rather like she managed to typecast the idea of the royal family being like a dinner show in the US. So the phone goes both ways on this one.
Well, American actress, divorced, biracial.
It's almost as if he's chanted it off by rote again and again. American actress, divorced, biracial. Although I notice in the UK version he uses the word biracial, but he caters for an American audience. In the American version, it ditches the word biracial and instead she is black. Did you notice that she's black?
The fact that she was American, an actress, divorced, black.
And then Anderson Cooper said your family were concerned about those concerns.
Yes, my family read the tabloids. It's laid out at breakfast when everyone comes together. So whether you walk around saying you believe it or not, it's still leaving an imprint in your mind.
He seems to suggest that these daily newspapers inform all of the royal family's opinions. Have you noticed that? As if they haven't got a brain and can't think for themselves. And also, sort of disregarding the fact that they've all experienced your stereotyping of the tabloid press. Every single one of them.
Megyn, given your acting and the profile you had, you'd already been involved in various causes. You'd been an ambassador for UN Women.
Meghan had decided that she wanted to reinvent herself as an advocate for women's rights.
Apparently, Prince Harry said, whatever you do, don't go and get yourself pictured outside the Taj Mahal. She asked why. When I told her, people would say that we're simply copying my mother. Now, that is the very famous picture that everybody knows of the late and beautiful Princess Diana outside one of the most romantic beauty spots in the world. And as Harry said to William, she hadn't bothered Googling the family. She had no idea. This really resulted in some kind of squabble behind the scenes at Kensington Palace because, as William pointed out, everybody knows that picture, whether you know our mother or not.
After the service in Westminster Abbey, Diana's body was taken to her family home at Althorpe. There, on an island in the middle of Roundover Lake, she was laid to rest.
Hard to believe, isn't it, that Princess Diana passed 20 years ago. There'll be folks watching who'll remember exactly what they were doing on that day.
Overnight, a candlelight vigil for the People's Princess.
You've only got to look at the gate. She's very much alive.
In the rain, Diana's boys, William and Harry, retraced their steps of 20 years ago to see the flowers left in memory of their mother.
We rowed the little boat out to the island, and then we talked about life. I gave him a quick summary of what Meg and I had been dealing with.
I used to be the editor of a celebrity magazine, I was the editor of Star, and people would always ask me when I worked there, like, okay, like, what stories are real? And I'd be like, okay, every story is real except for the ones about the royal family. And this was prior to Meghan Markle coming on. I'm like, the palace is just a tight ship. Like, people don't blab.
Don't worry, Harold. No one believes that shit. Not true. They do.
But once Meghan came on the scene, leaky ship. People were singing like a bird. Why? She hired several PR firms to make sure that places like the Daily Mail, Page 6, our magazines were writing about her on a consistent basis.
It's drip-fed to them day by day, and they come to believe it without even being aware.
So when Meghan stands there and is like, I'm the victim, everybody's writing about me. It's like, well, girl, you're paying someone to make sure it happens. What are you talking about?
Then he said something extraordinary. He said he thought Mummy was here, meaning among us. I think she's been in my life, Harold, guiding me, setting things up for me. I think she's helped me start a family. He felt as though she was very much in his life and helped set him up, and that he felt as though she'd now moved over and was helping me set my life up. I nodded, totally agree. I feel as though she helped me find Meg. When he took a step back, he looked concerned. Well, now, Harold, I'm not sure about that. I wouldn't say that. And Catherine's been absolutely
She's been wonderful.
Amazing, as is William as well. Fantastic support. But I think it had Kate on edge, while putting her and everyone else on notice that she was now going to be compared to and forced to compete with Meg.
So awful the way the media has to pit women against each other and make it seem like you hate her. When in reality...
When in reality, I hate her, but yes, I know what you mean. It's terrible.
All this came on the heels of an awkward moment backstage. Meg asked to borrow Kate's lip gloss.
They're not even trying to hide it anymore, are they? They hate William and Kate. They're jealous of William and Kate.
Meg squeezed some onto her finger and applied it to her lips. Kate grimaced.
Harry put it down to a small clash of styles and then blamed the media for sensing something was up and trying to turn it into something bigger. To me, it sounds like it was getting bigger by itself.
The impression is that there's almost from the get-go, it's just they don't get on. Fair?
Yeah, fair. Maybe a couple of months in, when I suddenly realised, actually, this is, I know that I'm in love with this girl, and I hope that she's in love with me.
Alternatively, charming, spoiled, badly educated, simple-minded and demanding, and that previous girlfriend said he lacked class, was unromantic, unserious, short-tempered, imperious. What on earth did Meghan see in that then?
She saw someone who was needy. She saw somebody
she could fix.
Who she could use and who could serve her purposes.
And it's, it's not, it's not easy for anybody. But I know that, at the end of the day, she chooses me and I choose her.
Once they realized the marriage was going to take place, they thought, well, she controls Harry, so that's a good thing. And also, she's a woman of color, which is a great thing, because they knew that Meghan was wildly unsuited as a character.
And therefore, you know, whatever we have to tackle together or individually will always be us together as a team. So I think she's capable
So
of...
nicely said, isn't it?
I don't know. She's capable of anything.
My daughter is capable of anything.
Meghan is capable of anything. She doesn't have boundaries.
And together, as I said, there's a hell of a lot of stuff and work that needs doing.
I didn't fully understand what the job was.
At the moment, for us, it's going to be making sure that our relationship is always put first.
What does it mean to be a working royal? What do you do?
No, look, both of us have passions for wanting to make change for good, and
I mean, I knew that he and I were very aligned on all of our cause-driven work. That was part of our initial connection.
Here we begin to see some signals of deception. Her body language shows doubt.
Lots of young people running around the Commonwealth. That's where we're going to spend most of our time, hopefully.
And it was really one of the first things we connected on. It was one of the first things we started talking about when we met, was just the different things that we wanted to do in the world and how passionate we were about seeing change, I think.
When I would do Suits, I would, in hiatus, go to India, go to Rwanda and do college-driven work. That's what I was excited about. I wasn't trying to find like the great indie film that's gonna get me an Oscar. No, I just wanted to go and volunteer.
I have a meeting today. We're on hiatus from Suits, so I am meeting with some producers about a film. Fingers crossed.
I'm feeling it.
Are you?
This is your time. I'm feeling
good
whatever you
about
do
it.
today is going to work.
Thank you.
Yeah, I feel it.
That was the thing. What she was already doing, what I was already doing, that sort of came together.
That was the thing. What she was already doing, what I was already doing.
She was not happy about that, considering that Harry has been doing charity work way longer than she has, and he managed to take that moment away from her.
What does it mean to you, Meghan, to have those stones on your finger that once belonged to Princess Diana?
I think everything about Harry's thoughtfulness and the inclusion of that, and obviously not being able to meet his mom, it's so important to me to know that she's a part of this with us.
At long last, I was bringing the girl of my dreams home to meet Mum. I placed flowers on the grave. Meg gave me a moment, and I spoke to my mother in my head, told her I missed her, asked her for guidance and clarity. Feeling that Meg might also want a moment, I went around the hedge, scanned the pond.
Your girlfriend wanted a private moment with your mother?
I was like, this is my mum. You never even met her. When I came back, Meg was kneeling, eyes shut, palms against the stone. I asked as we walked back to the boat what she'd prayed for. Clarity, she said, and guidance.
From communing with Diana's spirit, wearing perfume like Diana's on their first dates, dressing and posing like Diana, touching him like a mother would a child.
And I think in being able to meet his aunts and also to be like Julia and
Meghan is a trained actress. What she does is that she studies people.
just different people who are so important to his mom.
She's not a good actress, but she is a trained one, right? She's been doing it her entire life.
I'm able to, in some way, know a part of her through them and, of course, through him.
There is no doubt that she studied Princess Diana. She studied her mannerisms towards Harry when he was a boy, and the way that she grabs her face. And this is the psychopathic elements of what she does. And she has convinced, there's a thing called psychology called the Freudian transfer. She has convinced Harry that she is Princess Diana, except this time he has an opportunity to save her.
What do you think your mother would have thought of Meghan or said about Meghan?
Oh, they'd be thick as thieves. Without question. I think she would be over the moon, jumping up and down, you know, so excited for me. But then, as I said, it would have probably been best friends with Meghan.
What's so interesting is this week I heard this extraordinary story, which I'm sure is true because it came from Harry's lips, that Harry told a friend of his when he was in London recently that Meghan is in touch with Diana, and that Diana is assuring
Princess Diana,
the mother.
You know, with the ring and with everything else that's going on, I'm sure she's
with us.
I'm sure she's with us, yeah.
Meghan is assuring Harry that his mother is absolutely sure that what they're doing is right. And she supports them absolutely in everything they're doing. And Harry told this story in absolute seriousness. He really does believe that Meghan is talking to Diana.
I'm sure she's with us. I'm sure she's with us, yeah. You know, jumping up and down somewhere else.
And so
and she's letting him think that.
Well, clearly,
Meghan's letting Harry think that.
Clearly.
Prince Harry, Meghan Markle, thank you both very much.
Thank you so much.
I mean, is it an act? Does she really think that she's in touch with Diana beyond the grave? It's absolutely astonishing.